sometimes you just gotta get that cheese in your mouth. Hey, welcome to another episode of Sawdust Nation Podcast, episode 172. Our additional host today is gonna be Tim from Gears and Fire, and we have Nap from Nap's Nutty Works LLC, Josh from North Country Woodworking. Well, we're gonna have a great episode for you guys today. We're gonna actually go over a little bit of maker camps that Tim got to go up to, and then we're gonna kind of take that and compare that to our experience at Workbench Comp and kind of see what the best for you might be, or both. I know a lot of people like going to Maker Camp and then they meet again at Workbench Con. So without further ado, Tim, take us through Maker Camp.
Honestly, my wife and I had an absolute blast. So we left Wednesday afternoon and drove. You got to keep in mind, I'm in central Wisconsin, so it, as the GPS lady in the box says, it's going to take you 16 hours to get there. We didn't make it all in one shot on the way out. So in our youth, we could do that just by switching drivers and stuff like that. We got as far as Erie, Pennsylvania before I realized we're not 20-something anymore. So drive safe, folks. Drive safe. Don't drive tired. Get yourself a hotel.
That's scary. I'm gonna let you know. Driving tired is scary.
It is so scary. It's freaking sketch.
What?
Especially when it's midnight and you don't remember that semi just passing you, but somehow it's in front of you. Yeah,
there's a point.
No bueno.
There's a point when you're driving like that. Yeah, where you need to stop. My biggest tell, and I hate to admit this here, is when I go by an exit and it scares me.
Yes.
Is that my exit?
No.
And then
there's no scared if it's my exit. It's
you see it kind of split off, and you're like,
exit.
Yeah.
And then you quick casually check the GPS and no, okay, we're good.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Well, that was my 2 o'clock drive from San Antonio to Fort Worth when I left Texas. We left at 2 a.m. after fixing the house up in 18 hours. So yeah, it was great.
Wow. Yeah, don't drive tired, folks. That's a lesson for that one. Anyway, so we get there. I want to say Thursday afternoon or so. We meet up with 20 Peps. And 20 Peps Woodworking, great guy. And of course, he's got to lay the land. We were supposed to meet him there 10:30, but like I said, we didn't get there till 3 because we were smart. We got a hotel, so that pushed our timeline back a little bit. So we get there, he gets us kind of set up on wherewithal and where we're supposed to go and stuff like that. But I tell you, even on the way in, I'm meeting Instagram folks that I've only known digitally speaking. So it's I immediately just kind of taken in with the whole experience of meeting these fantastic people. So we get checked in, get our tent set up. That's right, we are tent campers. There were some folks that they'll go find a hotel or their maker camp. The Blackthorn Resort, they have on-site hotels, but those fill up immediately. In fact, I just saw earlier today that they're already booked for next year. It goes that fast.
Wow.
Really fast. But the camping situation was kind of wild west. Here is the area where people camp, go. But because we got there early, we got the pick of the land. Tony was smart. He found the high ground, and it's a good thing too. So we set up a cool, what we call the Goondocks, our little camping area. I met some really cool makers out there. Just arriving in there, they helped me set up the tent, the whole 9 yards. It was really cool. Immediately you could feel the camaraderie with all the makers. It was really, really cool. So, after it got set up, we just started walking around, getting the lay of the land, you could see, where all the demonstrator tents are set up. At this time, nobody's really crafting anything up because, it's Thursday. They're still getting set up for their demonstrations for the weekend. But what's really cool is as they're setting up there, they're willing to kind of chat and work at the same time. So being respectful for them. Just kind of hey, that's great. So what is that? That's awesome. Cool. I'm going to go keep on going. We'll see you tomorrow. That type of stuff. But yeah, it's not a bougie hotel situation. There's bathrooms there. It's not porta potties, right? So there is flush toilets if that's an issue for some folks. But we figured out where everything was, where the toilets were, where the pavilion was, where where the food is if you do want to buy food. It was a pretty well set up place. I mean, there's something for everyone. Yeah, after it gets up, so that Thursday night, they kind of had like a meet and greet with everybody there. And that was probably the coolest part because, I mean, that's, from across the way, I saw this maker and that maker. He's famous, she's famous. And so, but like, we're just trying to awkwardly kind of, stand close to people where we can, hear them and, like talk to them and stuff like that. It was really cool. But, we had of course, you have a few beverages and then all of a sudden the conversation comes a little easier. It's kind of magic like that,
The social lubrication.
I know. Yeah.
Liquid courage. Yeah.
Liquid courage, indeed. No, it was like I said, a really cool experience. I finally got to meet my hero, Jimmy DiResta.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Derek from Alden. I saw him there too. But yeah, I mean, like, I got to meet all like my other close IG good friends, like Building Jesse. Yeah, she was there. Katrina from P&W Woodworking. She's out in Washington. Yeah, both our Washington girls were both there. No, it was just a really cool experience because every time you turn around, you're talking to somebody that you kind of recognize. Like, oh yeah, you're so and so from that account. Like, that was just really cool. It's like a name to the face. You can actually shake their hand, give them a hug, the whole 9 yards. It was a really cool experience. They're like, and just outside the pavilion, they have this massive fire ring where, I mean, they keep the fire going all the time. The weather was actually really beautiful until Saturday. About 3 a.m. Saturday morning, like the skies broke. Man, it was some of the heaviest rain I had heard in a while. Like, we don't get rain like that in Wisconsin. It was insane. Like, it was nonstop. So like 3 a.m., I'm kind of lying awake because, the rain's pretty loud and I'm hearing car door after car door after car door, like people exiting, jettisoning the tent and getting into the cars. It was pretty sketchy for some, but, like full credit to my wife, she knows how to keep a, watertight tent. So like we were bone dry. I mean, I think we had like a couple of small puddles in the tent, but like it's like we were situated. It was a good setup.
That's impressive.
You can always tell you can tell the difference between real campers, and we do this just because campers.
Yep.
Yeah. I bought this tent yesterday, and I think I set it up right.
Exactly. I just want to look cool and have this awesome tent, and it's soaking wet, and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Hey, every single person that's ever camped has gotten soaking wet in that tent. You've never.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've been through my trials and tribulations. Absolutely. It's just like I said,
I know I do.
This particular time, like we were on high ground, and it was great.
So, I made the mistake when I was a kid. I bought a brand new tent because I had the money and I could, and it was a nice tent. And I set it up, and I'm like, I'm staying here tonight. I'm going to test this out in my yard at home. And of course, I set it in the low spot of the yard where, if it rains, it floods. Ooh. And it downpours. And I didn't set the top part up right, so it was touching the tent fabric. And so there's that too. Sure. So like I'm getting soaked. I'm basically floating. And I finally give up and go inside. And my dad's just laughing. He's just like, well, you learned your lesson.
Well, so
it's good for him.
In middle school, we had actual camp, and we had cabins and stuff. But we did there was a block during our camp where we had what's called wilderness survival, and we actually learned how to build shelters and stuff out of the woods and whatnot. Like you find a spot and all this stuff, you branches, all the things.
I got the military to pay me to do that.
Yeah. But then you learn
the government issued tents. What are you talking about?
But then you learn the simple things of you put a tarp and all these other things to waterproof the tent and all these other interesting items. But then also, the military also taught us how to do these things. I've set up things like temper tents and
there's certain training that you can receive depending on your job that requires you to go in the middle of the woods with like a poncho and 550 cord and
right.
So what he's talking about is SEER training. Not all of us get to go through SEER. SEER has different levels, and if I'm not mistaken, Josh would have went through the higher class of SEER because of his.
I went through a couple different. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, I went through a couple different things for my jobs in the military, but one of the fun parts of it was I got to go camping, and we're not Army, we're Air Force, so it's not the same at all. We get hotel
The
keys, yeah, and they need to get a tent, but we got to go out there and do some fun stuff and weave baskets, and it was great. So.
It's more than that. He's downplaying it a lot, but that's fine because he has to.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself too. So the rain was mostly Saturday. So on Friday, that's really when I got to get into the thick of what Maker Camp is, which means there's a tent or spot for every single discipline. Like if you want to do leatherworking, you go over there, you do a leatherworking project. Same with blacksmithing, same with sewing, same with various types of woodworking projects. So I went.
Underwater
my goal was
basket
two
weaving?
things: underwater basket weaving, which would have come in handy on Saturday.
It would have.
So Friday, my goal for this year was to meet Jimmy DiResta, check, and then do some blacksmithing, check. So my first, keep in mind, I had never heated up steel, never hit it with a hammer ever in my life. And so the fact that I just got to get right in the thick of stuff and actually make something, that was awesome. So I mean, the first project, they have you make, it's just a simple bookmark, right? They give you an eighth inch rod, and you heat it up. You put a point on it, you pound over the point, and you turn it around, you heat up the end, and then you flatten it, and then, like I said, you make a bookmark.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, like I said, it's not straight, but it's hard and gets the job done.
Hey, listen, if it marks that book, you're great. It's perfect.
It marks the shit out of it. Dude, it sounds so funny, but
all I'm saying is I can't read, so it's probably not gonna help me.
That's why they give you pictures.
Yeah.
So what do I do with a bookmark? I don't get it. Anyway, so I don't know. But what's really cool is that after from 8 o'clock until midnight is all the forges are open. So it's open forge. So if you want to do a project, grab some steel and go in there and do it. So I'm thinking to myself, where to get the steel? Well, right next to the blacksmithing tent, they had this entire trailer full of scrap steel from everything from hammers, axes, everything, you name it. It's just, I believe that was one source of the steel. They may have had other sources for it, but if you want to make something, dude, jump in after 8 o'clock.
Have you not seen Forged in Fire? Okay. You
right.
Just go in there, you make a billet. There might not be a press, but there's an anvil, some hammers. Go to it, my friend.
Just do it.
This will not cut, and it will not heal.
It will not heal. That dude's funny. I like him.
To that line though, I did get to meet Jay Nielsen. He was there. I was actually got a chance to watch him do journeyman testing for another maker that was there. His test failed, but along the whole process, he was teaching us why we're doing this test, why it failed, blah blah blah. So that was pretty cool. And he's such a genuine dude. He was willing to instruct the whole way and provide support because you could see the guy was kind of disappointed that he failed, but he could say, look, it failed because of this, because of this. It turns out the guy only failed his bend test because of faulty steel. The knife he made did pass the first 2 tests with flying colors. He had to cut a rope twice and then hack through a 2x4. But and then the final test, they put the knife in a vise, then you put a cheater bar on top, and you bend it back 90 degrees, and then if it bends completely 90 degrees without breaking, then that's a pass. But his broke at about 30 degrees or so.
Yeah, that's gotta be disheartening. You put all the work into it, and you're just let's just destroy this thing. Snap! Right. Oh, my heart.
But yeah, but and he can take the test again in 6 months. So that's something else I learned too. Is when you want to get your journeyman certification, you can take the test every 6 months, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, he can take again. So in the next 6 months, you can be sure that he's going to be testing. He's going to be making a whole lot of knives and testing them as he goes.
So,
but I don't know, man. It was a really cool experience. On Friday night, they had karaoke, so everybody gave their best. Alcohol was flowing, and
hey, listen, they're playing an awesome game. Okay, it was the stump and nail game. I watched that on the reels.
Hammerschlagen.
That is one of my favorite drinking games ever.
Did you see the size of the log that they were doing it?
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Massive.
It was massive.
I was like, dude, that's a
proper size Hammerschlagen log.
And dude hit the one. He like caught it. It was like boom, and it just goes whack, and then the nail's gone. I was like, all right, my man's good at what he does.
Did that one go in? I couldn't tell if it went in or just flew away.
It went in, but then again, he could have bent it too. I couldn't really see.
I thought they were looking for it. I thought like he hit it and just like popped up, but I don't know.
Excuse me. Either way, he wins in my book.
Right. So yeah, that was Friday night. Of course, then early Saturday morning it started raining, and it rained all freaking day. Like the ground was just mud everywhere. Like my feet are still kind of hurt from trudging through mud and carrying mud with me. It got so bad that even like the pavilion had like a freaking river going right through it. What's weird is like they had never had rain like that before at that event. So it's like, how do you plan for that?
You have a bunch of makers. There's a bunch of wood. I'm sure someone had an axe. You harness your inner woodworker and you build a dam.
Hey. All right. Hay bales came out, man. They had guys with shovels digging trenches and throwing up hay bales. It was, I don't know. But it did clear up Saturday night. They had a band Saturday night, and they also had axe throwing too. And it turns out I'm really good at axe throwing. I was 3 for 3, boys.
I saw what's his Daniel Dunlap? I think he was there.
Yeah.
He was throwing axes. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's cool. People have their inner Viking flowing. That's good. That was the need.
Dude, you got it. If you haven't done it before, it's awesome.
I've always wanted to. I mean, like, so when I was in Okinawa, we used to have a drinking game. My friend, he lived in he was married, so he got one of the houses, and there was an embankment behind his house, and there was a fire pit. We drink, and we had these a broken broomstick that had sharpened points on different parts, so we broke it up in like 4 pieces, and we each get 2. As we drink, we put a beer can on the embankment, and we try to hit them, and like not the same as with axes, but we used to practice with that, and it was fun. So later, they came out with axe throwing, and I'm like, ooh, that's right up my alley, and I yet have not gone. But it's one of those things too. I could probably build something and put it up in my camp, and we could do it up there as much as we want.
Sure.
But it looks like so much fun, but it's expensive too.
What is?
Axe throwing. If you go to one of the bars that actually have it and whatnot, it's pretty expensive.
Well, around here it's not bad, but then again, we're in Wisconsin, so maybe that says something about us.
I had not checked here in Illinois, so it could be cheaper. I know Jersey was kind of pricey.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, so, I mean, but to the point of expense, that's one of the coolest things about Maker Camp is like when I paid for the Silver Pass, which is like, I don't remember how much it was like per ticket. But I didn't have to pay for anything else after that outside of food, right? Like, in other words, if I went to the bar area to buy food, that was kind of pricey. But everything else was covered by the ticket. In other words, when I went to go do blacksmithing, there was no charge. When my wife went to go do her crafts, she was not charged. Nobody was charged for anything. All the cost of materials was covered by your admission.
Nice.
Like
okay.
At every turn, they had an opportunity to kind of nickel and dime us. That did not happen. This place was amazing. Like the whole experience was just stunning. Like I want to say like our total cost, like both of our tickets and gas out there and the food that we bought, I want to say all in we spent maybe $1,000. So I don't know what the expense is for Workbench Con, but to me, this is pretty damn affordable. Like that was right in our budget, and like we're comfortable. You know what I mean?
And that's good too, because that's you don't want to go to an event and have to spend a whole bunch of money and then regret it afterwards.
Yes, I have no regret. I have sore feet, but no regret. A lot of memories.
No regrets. Not even a single letter.
No regrets.
Slow clap.
No regrets.
Oh my God.
No regrets. So unfortunately, Saturday night, because of all the rain and safety issues, they had to like kill the power for a lot of stuff. So I couldn't like finish my tongs. Like in the Avid CNC tent, they had a plasma cutter, and they were just cutting blanks of these. So if you wanted to make your own blacksmithing tongs, all you had to do is pick up a blank, take it over to the Bodger grinding tent, grind off the all the sharp edges and stuff, go over to the blacksmith tent, and then you can punch your hole, get this guy flat, blah blah blah, make your own tongs. I did not get a chance to do that, which is regrettable, man. But you know what? I will take these with me next year.
There you go.
I will finish these next year. Now what's really cool is like there was another tent there that had powder coating. It's like an oven. It's an oven style powder coating. It's not like the there's a process of powder coating where they use, it's like, I want to say static discharge. That's not correct. But basically, they have something, again, they give you something to powder coat, you clean it up, and you go over it, you powder coat it, and they say, here you go. There's no charge. And I just think that's so fascinating, and that's incredibly gracious of all of the demonstrators that they are providing these materials. Now, granted, I'm sure they're getting paid on some level, from the admission fees and stuff like that. But like I said, everything is affordable, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, man, it sounds like a great time. I definitely would love to check it out. It's just it's sometimes hard to take time off. But
I get it.
It's not even hard to take time off. It's just it's hard to get the time.
Yeah,
right.
Like, because honestly, if I could be like, screw it, I'm not going to work for a week and a half. I'll see you guys then. I'll put my my request in.
Yep.
But like Josh just got done moving, and I know he's in no place to do anything like that right now.
Right. I mean, but like, it's even this whole event too is actually a really cool safe space for kids too. It's like there's a lot of folks there that brought their kids with them. I mean, I have a video of Pat Lapp, the wood turner.
Yeah,
he was there like showing. I think this littler gal, she's about 6 or 7. He's helping her hold this thing. They got iPro on the whole 9 yards. Like kids can get involved just as much as the adults do.
That's pretty cool.
I think that's
what
like,
it should be.
There's no such thing as a bored kid at this. There's always something to do.
That's exactly how it should be.
But if I had to pick, regarding the time off, like if I had to pick between this and Workbench Con, I would always choose this because it is way more hands-on. And I'm not the type of guy I don't really give two flapjacks about social media and how popular I am.
Flapjacks, I like it.
I'm just saying maybe.
I'm going to steal that.
But when you're a parent, you learn how to swear in different ways, right? Like, God, fire truck and flapjack and bomb second. You swear differently.
Unfortunately, I haven't found any creative ways. Unfortunately, my son's probably heard every word under the sun. Maybe even things that were made up. He does not repeat them, thankfully.
Yeah,
and he shouldn't. You're right.
Once he gets older.
Yeah, no, for real. And unfortunately, that just comes with being in the military. We try, but it just doesn't happen.
Not just military. This is a job profession you're in. I mean,
okay, job and profession, sure. I get it, Josh. Job and profession, awesome. I hang around maintainers every day.
I know.
Every other word is F this, F that. This is effing dumb. This is stupid. And, that's not going to effing work because you're an effing idiot and things like that. Like, that's literally the lingo on a daily basis. Okay.
Well, it certainly illustrates the diversity of the word now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Vocabulary is really well established.
Well, and it's funny too, right? Because you try to insult somebody that, that's all they draw is the F-bomb. Like, can you just not say beep every other word? Because that'd be
I download that sound. You can actually, pretty sure there's an app where you can get like sound effects and you just push it and it just continues it. Every time it just be
right.
But it's just like
Jason.
Yeah, I saw what Jason said, but before you answer that question, so I actually had a question for you about Maker Camp. what would you say the overall theme of Maker Camp is? And to help with this question, like I said, Workbench Con was business, social media, growing influence, and a little bit of product and this, that, and the other.
Right.
What would you say Maker Camp was? Like, what was the overall theme, do you think?
So the social influence and making connections, I would tell you that is just as prevalent, if not more. I don't know what the attendance is at Workbench Con, but it is just as prevalent at Maker Camp. The difference is like if you don't like going outside, Workbench Con is your thing. If you like really getting outside and like actually doing stuff, Maker Camp, because I know that they had like some kind of demonstrations here and there, Workbench Con. I don't know to what extent, but literally every tent at Maker Camp has something for you to do on your own. Like all the supplies are there. Like you take something home with you. If you make it, you take it. I should give that to Austin. That's pretty good.
So, Workbench Con, I would say the most active tent or booth area would have been Daniel's. And maybe Surf Prep. And Bumbleshoots. Those are like the three.
Totalboat.
So of those things, like
well,
do you get to make something that you take home?
So Totalboat, I think you did. Surf Prep, you just got to use their sander, I think. We had a 3D carving going. There's not a whole lot going on there. However, we did give away a bunch of lever clamps, dust boot accessories, and things like that.
Sure.
And then there was a area where they were building a dong, like a dong holder. Like
you mean a gong?
Gong.
What are you thinking about?
Oops.
I am cutting that and putting in an IG a dong holder.
Oh my god!
Sheesh!
Woo. This water's
That's
strong.
the title of this episode.
Josh has got something to tell you. He built the dong holder.
That's the title of this episode.
Dong
holders
holder.
are us.
Yeah. This might be a random one at the end.
That was good. That was funny.
Yeah.
But they're like a lot of the booths at Workbench Con we have a bunch of stuff to give away. Whereas it sounds like Maker Camp's like, yeah, we got stuff to give away, but you got to make it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be like just a slight difference, I suppose. And I know that there are some product giveaways at like certain tents, but I just don't know to like what level, because like I said, I wasn't looking for, just a cruise by the table, grab some shit, cruise by the table, grab some shit. Like I wanted to get in. What are you laughing at? Oh, the shit. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
Hey, I'm not hiding it. All right, you said the great dong.
You're right.
I'm like, no, that thing's a mini, homie.
Sweatpants?
Hey, let me tell you something about Polish people. All right. I mean, never mind.
Everything's fine.
This is fine.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
The room is on fire. I mean, anyways.
For the love of God, bring it back.
Okay.
No, honestly though, it's like I said. What was your estimation for the total population at Workbench Con? Like how many attendees?
I think it's 300 or 500 is around that.
Yeah, I'm guessing, but I want to say there's at least 1,000 at this, but it's all spread. It is all spread open.
So apparently the Workbench Con takeaways was Josh in the dong holder and Nap in the used towel. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate you bringing up old shit.
For everybody.
But okay. Bring it back. Harnessing the inner professional.
Yeah,
which will never go away in like 30 seconds. All right, so Tim, you're saying you can make a camp, you make things, you get to take the things you make home. If you don't like camping or being outside, Workbench Con's for you. Okay. And would you say, make your camp. Yeah, Workbench Con's for you if you don't like being outside. But Workbench Con was, again, more social media, so Maker Camp wasn't very much social media driven. It was just like a bunch of people coming together or...
Yeah, it's basically just like all these people that you know on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, they're there, but it's not about the connections like that. There is no, account managers, recommendation account counselors. And I'm really guessing. Like what?
You're not
Workbench
guessing
Con is
because
about
that's relatively close.
because like I mean nobody's walking around with like account metrics, and like I saw a couple of people doing that at Workbench Con through their feeds or whatever. Like this is what you should bring to Workbench Con,
So
like account metrics and stuff like that.
So, okay, question. So, Workbench
Yeah.
Con, one thing that Josh, Nick, and I noticed was you could kind of tell, like, who your big account holders were, right? Like, obviously, we know people, right? Like, we know Daniel Dunlap. Really cool dude. And honestly, he will, you can beep this up. He will you. Okay? He just does. It's funny. And I find it funny. Like, I met him the night prior. We were all drinking or whatever. And then he goes, hey, I got something from you. I'm like, what did you, like, I'm like, what? He hands me a damn candy wrapper. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, one of those types of things. But then there was other folks that like you knew, but they were kind of like posh, like peasants, you know, kind of like that. Did you notice that at all at Maker Camp?
Not one bit. Like this was the most humble experience ever. Like I met some of the most humble people, like people who had a shit ton of followers. And I don't know about it, and they didn't tell me about it. You know what I mean? It's, okay, for example, like one of the guys that camped with us, Logan with Newton. I'm blocking on the account name. I have like 7,000 stickers here, but seriously, like he's like huge on TikTok and Instagram. I think he's got a decent YouTube following too. I'm gonna keep talking and searching as I go. But like he was one of the most humble guys in the entire world. And you know, he's camping with us every morning, you know, like Kristen's making bacon, making coffee, and he just kind of come over, super appreciative of everything. And willing to have like just a chill conversation, even whilst hungover. Not that I knew he was hungover. But like, you know, the coffee the coffee was there, the bacon was there, the pancakes were there, everybody's freaking happy, and he's just chilling out. And like, you know, when I look him up later, I'm like, holy crap, it does. Like, I don't want to hang out with like popular people who know about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give two flapjacks how many followers you are. Can you just have some coffee and bacon with me? Maybe a beer later? Sweet, let's do that. I'm your friend. Like, that's all I felt throughout Maker Camp. Like, I did not feel intimidated at all by anyone. Except maybe Jimmy DeRasta.
Well, okay, but that's Jimmy though. Like, but Jimmy's one of the most humble people you'll ever meet.
New and specials. Like, guys, freaking amazing.
But like,
I knew it was in here somewhere.
I didn't really talk to Jimmy DeRasta. All right, I honestly like I only knew about the guy only because I've seen him on Instagram and those things. And that's no offense to him, right? Like, it's not It's not because like who the hell is that? No, it's just I'm ignorant to like the people that certain folks follow. And then when Nick brought him up, I was like, okay, yeah, I've seen this guy. Like, I've seen him on Instagram and stuff. I follow him. Cool.
Sure.
And then you meet him and you're like, oh, okay, you're that guy. And then you start looking at like, oh shit, you are actually like kind of famous in the Maker community. That's pretty neat. But he don't act
he
like
is the Godfather making. And that's it. Basically, I always say like it starts with Jimmy. Like he just radiates that humility. Like people are just chill next to him because he is chill. He does not throw his fame and shit in your face at all.
That's how it should.
Like he's so appreciative.
Yeah, exactly. Like that should be the standard amongst makers in this entire community. And I see the big difference between Maker Camp and Workbench Con is it seems like Workbench Con is trying to embody what Maker Camp is, but you have some larger accounts that we saw that just didn't want to deal with anyone below a certain account for whatever reason. But that did not mean because you had people from all walks of life gathering together, and like random people come up, start talking to you, whatnot. They might be larger accounts or not. It didn't matter.
Right.
What we're talking about is a very small, I don't want to say small group, but there was definitely a group or two that did kind of kept to themselves because they had larger accounts that didn't want to bother with anyone else. You know, from listening to your experience and our experience at Workbench Con, I would say the majority of people that Maker Camp is probably your best bet. I mean, I want to go. I want to go from everything I've heard throughout a couple of years. We go to Workbench Con. because that's our opportunity that we got, and that's where we go. And there are wonderful people there, and we have great experiences. But I'm an outdoor guy.
Sure.
Going camping and doing everything, fire pit. I'm from upstate New York. So, I mean, like, that's how I was raised. That's what I like doing. And then on top of that, hanging out with a bunch of crazy cool people and making some stuff. I mean, how can you get better than that?
Right. And now you just need to convince Daniel to, instead of going WBC, come on over to Maker Camp. Set up a booth.
We can have you pitch it.
So the only reason, I'm not saying Daniel wouldn't do that. However, electronics and the possibility of a torrential downpour do not mix.
Hey, there's tents. We shut off the power. Everything's fine.
Is it though?
It is. No one died.
No one died.
Good standard. I like that standard.
No, because like I said, Avid CNC was there. They had their plasma table.
Yeah.
There is like a very good spot for Daniel to set up and show what he's got, and even possibly, again, make something that somebody can make and take. I don't know to what extent, but for people to experience this product, I think that would be a solid place to demonstrate that. I'm sure, Workbench kind of got a place where he can turn stuff on and make stuff cut, but he can also do that at Maker Camp too. That's the benefit. Is like, it doesn't matter if it requires power. There is a spot for you to like turn stuff on and demo it. Like the guys from Shaper were there. Yeah. You got to put your hands on a Shaper and cut something yourself. I thought that was really cool.
I think in the coming years, you'll see Daniel and PW and CNC at more places, especially after, getting established or Workbench Con and experiencing that. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I will say that he definitely seems to have interest in going other places. So we could always bring it up and see what he thinks. I definitely would love to show up either with him in his company or just with the Sawdust Nation podcast crew in general. I think it'd be a great time for all, but yeah, man, it sounded like a great time. I was living through you guys' posts and just checking it out as you went. Definitely jealous, and I'm glad it. Even with the rain, it turned out so well. Because I didn't know that it was gonna. You guys were gonna power through or not with all that rain.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the cool part of it. It's like even when it was still pouring, there were still people in every tent doing something, even with like the power off. Like they're still hanging around, talking, doing stuff. That's what I'm saying. It didn't shut anything down. It made us adapt, and I think that's, like you said before. That's the spirit of makers. It's like you adapt. It doesn't matter the condition. You just figure out a way to keep on going.
And that's why I love this community.
I will say the adaptation comes from. Bleep this one out too. I fucked up. and then you're like, okay, but now how do I fix it? And that's where the adaptation comes from. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, because we don't necessarily, and this is for every maker out there, because I'm sure everyone has thought about this at some point in time. We don't have the bandwidth to just recreate a project sometimes. Mm-hmm. It just does. It's just not possible. And sometimes you don't have the material to do it, right? So you find a way to make it look good, hide the mistake, and make it a feature, and charge more money. Wise words of Ben. But
we're going to be applying the torrential downpour fee now. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, guys, we made this so much better. It's a feature to Maker Camp. There you go.
I don't remember who posted it, but somebody, they were making Maker Camp 2023 shirts. It was like the logo, but there's like water lines, like the lake of a water kind of color. I think another one said like I survived Maker Camp 2023 flooding or something. I can't remember to what it was, but it definitely made me.
You guys didn't build an ark or something, man.
But I will opportunity say there. one of the coolest things. About Maker Camp, and like if you want to participate is the Maker Swap. What that means is like you make something and you donate it. On Sunday when they divvy everything up, you walk away with somebody else's thing that they made, and it's everybody everybody showed up, man. Like people brought their best game. It's like, I don't know if you had saw the cutting board that I made, the Goonies cutting board. Like that was like one of my absolute most complex inlay cutting boards I have ever done. And the guy that walked away with it was like super stoked. He's like, I'm actually going to use this as a cutting board. This is beautiful. And that's the cool thing about it. Is like you get to see who gets the thing that you made. And so my winnings, I suppose I should say, was this hand forged knife made by Austin. The guy that actually runs Maker Camp. He made the knife, and he made like this really awesome leather sheath for it too. Like, I am so freaking proud of this thing. Like, it is sharp. The guy did an amazing job making this.
That's pretty cool.
But like, I mean, people just went to town on the stuff that they made. Like Scott Crabtree, he made like that amazing Makers Welcome Here sign. Let's see. Oh, somebody actually made like this full blown like spoke shave bench. So the person that won it, yeah, I think that they drove. But we were all kind of wondering, like, if somebody flew from California and won it, like, how would they get it back home? That's the other thing too. Is like, if you fly in, you need to figure out how it's getting back to your home, because the guy that runs it will not ship it. But the nice thing too is like you can also possibly trade with somebody if they're willing to.
There you go.
Yeah, it was really neat. Like everybody brought their A game with the maker swap. It was really neat. Like some guy made like this super high detail like mini Bridgeport model. That was awesome. That was really cool. I mean, I could go on, but just dig through Instagram. I think hashtag Maker Camp Maker Swap, something like that. Just see all the entries. It's really cool to see what people bought.
Yeah, you guys definitely look like it was a good time.
Yeah, I'm mad I missed it. Next year, though. Next year is going to be more.
Next year, boys. You guys can camp with us in the Goondocks.
There we go. I'll bring my 10%.
We'll see where I'm at in the world. I mean, the world's going crazy, so we'll see. But if I'm not busy, you know,
it's a whole new episode. Yeah,
you're not. You're always busy. Come on.
No, I mean like busy as in like I'm like thousands of miles somewhere else.
Okay.
Where it's warmer.
But coming from Minot, you're going to be flying, I'm sure, unless you really want to make that haul. Like I said, it was 10 hours for me, so.
Oh no, I'm not making that. Well, I'll probably have a camper by then, but we'll see.
Ooh. I'd say it's a pretty decent road trip. Tanda Madison.
I'll fly down there. Help you drive.
Tanda Madison, if you don't follow her account is really cool. But she drove her motorcycle all the way from New Mexico all to New York. But
that
you gotta
hurts
understand
the back just thinking about it. Jesus.
She is absolutely amazing. Like
hats off to you, young lady. Hats off to you.
Yeah, she's just an amazing lady. Very intelligent. I'm really glad I got to meet her. But yeah, highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
No, I'm sold.
All right. Well, so yeah, I'm sold too. I do want to go, but like I said, we'll see where I'm at because I'm supposed to change jobs in a year. The job I'm in now is only a year stint, so I'll probably be on the flight line. This time next year, I'll be on the flight line. So.
Oh, okay.
You're leaving now, so they could cancel it later.
Yeah, right. And then after that, I could be headed to DC. So I don't know. We'll see.
Nice.
And that's a for real thing. Like, oh, hello! I just smacked the hell out of my microphone.
To answer Jason's question, like it's all about the classes and such. Like the hanging out happens after hours or when it's like downpouring. But it is all about the class. It is all about the hands-on. That is like the main theme. Is like you show up, you make something, and you take it home. And the fact that they have an open forge from 8 to midnight is just astounding.
That's kind of okay. Real quick, I must bring my safety hat out, and the safety guy should be doing this for me. 8 to 12 at night.
Yep.
What is occurring during these late hours?
Well, if you're not forging, you're drinking.
Or drinking and forging.
And forging. I don't know. No, honestly, They're pretty safe, and like all the forges are coal, so I mean they keep it going. Nothing.
I'm just busting stones. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm not going to say that I haven't been out in the shop and had a beer with me while I'm in the shop. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't get hammered in the shop, right? Because that's not good.
That'd be silly.
If I'm sanding, you better believe I'm blasted. I'm joking. Just,
I thought that was a 600 grit. It's 60.
oh shit! I guess you get another drink of bourbon. Woo!
At this point, there's no turning back.
That's a feature now.
No, it was a feature until the engraving that you put on there with the lasers.
They wanted it textured. They just didn't know it yet.
Yeah, textured with no writing. It's like, hello, welcome to my E, because the H-O and M are gone. But no, hey, real quick for Victor, he said, any idea when the ATC MTC is coming out? Hey, so he's working diligently on it. He's toying with different ideas of tool holding. His latest post showed, I think it was like a 10 spot or 12 spot holder that is mounted on the left side of his machine. So we'll see. As soon as he releases it, you better believe I'm buying it like ASAP. But I need a Mazzo because, that's what he built it for. I have an upgrade to make.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Okay, listen. Okay, Josh, listen. You're in a better spot than I am. And let me tell you why. You're in a better spot than I am because you can just buy the machine that the stuff's made for. I have to upgrade my machine and spend more money than what you're going to spend if you just buy an Elite now. I have to buy the Mazzo.
Well,
I have to buy the stuff that goes with the Mazzo.
I don't necessarily need an Elite right now.
Yes, you do, Josh.
But if you get
I got my 3D carving working, by the way. Just want to sail that out there.
Well, that's great. But let me tell you how much this ATC
so
with
now,
Elite
now
is
you can
help.
start machining those gongs.
The dongs? Yeah.
The gongs. With a G.
Yes.
With a G.
But no, so Josh, yeah, you don't need an Elite, but I'm gonna tell you, bro, if buy the Elite when you can. I'm not saying right now, okay? When you can, because you're not gonna have to, one, call me a million times and figure out how the hell I upgraded mine. But then two, it's already done for you.
I would do that, but no one wants the machine I currently have. It would literally, I would have.
Well, who gives a shit? Set it on fire. No one cares.
I can't do that. I'm not the type of
insurance?
person. Don't have insurance. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just incriminate him right now on the podcast. He set his damn machine on fire on purpose.
It's not incriminating at all. All I did was ask him a very innocent question. Don't you have insurance?
I will say, I did try to set it on fire this last weekend. So I stepped up my settings more than I ever have when it came to when I was trying to 3D carve, trying to get rid of the material and doing the roughing pass. I was I stepped it up pretty steep for my machine. Just waiting for it to explode, and it handled it somehow. I would never run it for hours on end like that, but it did good for a good 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, I need to upgrade my spindle because I'm still using the stock one that I got with my machine 2.5 years ago. Like when I was cutting the Goonie board at the end of like those very long 3-hour cuts, you turn the spindle off and you hear that very familiar grind as it decelerates. Yeah. She's at the end of her life. It was $80. Like, I don't care. Like, I can replace it with a Makita or DeWalt, I believe, but I don't know. I need to replace it sooner than later.
I mean, you just get a real spindle. Air cool.
Oh, I know.
Daniel.
But Daddy just got back from New York and doesn't have that cheddar.
No, I feel you. But Josh,
if I do get a new CNC, I think I'm gonna go with Jason and probably do a giveaway or donate to a maker that needs it. I like that.
Good call,
and
man.
if I can do that, I will.
Listen,
but it's hard for me to buy something I don't necessarily need. Everything I've ever bought in the shop has been, at least in some fashion, could be pointed at a need, not just like, oh, here we go.
I'm going to tell you why you need to buy a Foreman. So you can send me your X-Carve, and I can dismantle it, send it on a little ship that I built in my shop, sail it off, and hit it with a flaming arrow, giving it a Viking burial while
Do you
singing
even archery, bro?
I actually do. Okay,
Really?
And
we really got to get together though, man.
And even if it's not a bow and arrow, okay, I'll just take my rifle, hit it with some tannerite, set it out in the middle of the lake, smoke it, and just go skadoosh.
Expedite the Viking funeral.
Yeah, while singing Valhalla Calling in the back of my head. Okay,
there you go.
No, you gotta do it out loud.
What do we got going on the chat? Okay, I might be selling my upgraded X-Carve. Yep. Well, that's not a bad idea.
Upgraded
X-Carve. There's definitely, Daniel's coming out with some amazing stuff. I'm holding off. Will you please put your barrel down? Stop showing off with the camera.
I can't help it.
It's got a mind of its own.
Does it
fit? You had to do that on camera, huh? Anyway, well, yeah, Tim, thanks for sharing with us your experience. You got anything going on in the shop? I mean, I know you just got back, but you got any projects up and coming?
Well, honestly, last night was like my first breath because I finished up the table and launched immediately into the Goonies board, and then I was on the road. So I am reevaluating a lot of stuff. But honestly, my first legitimate project right now is throwing insulation at the garage. I can finally start focusing on getting the garage up to par. In parallel, we're saving to have the electrical upgraded to 200 amp service so I can run proper power out there. But right now, I don't have any wood crafting projects, but it's getting the garage shop up in order so I don't have to be down here in the basement with a CNC. Because my table saw, my chop saw, all that stuff's out in the garage. I would like to have everything in the garage so I don't have to bring tools in and out of the basement and to the garage and vice versa. That's getting real long.
Do you not have a sub panel?
In the garage? No. Dude, my electrical out there is so sketch. I have 15 amps total running to the garage. When I turn on the table saw, the wife knows about it. When I turn on the air compressor, I cross myself and hope I don't trip the breaker. Because if I do, a very familiar sound for my wife is the door opening and closing, stomp, 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 down to the basement, click, stomp, 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 up to the basement, back to the garage. Yeah, and it's even worse in the winter because that compressor does not like to start up in cold weather. So, but I can't run the table saw and the compressor at the same time, that type of thing. So I need to get my shop situation. So I'm intentionally avoiding taking on new projects right now just so I can focus on the garage and infrastructure. They got their little stuff. If I get a coaster or something like that, I'll take care of that. But I know that one thing that I'm going to be doing is kind of nice and easy. It's just that for the customers that bought the table, what I want to do is make them these trivets. So it's just a chunk of walnut, but on the other side, I'm inlaying these Italian marble pieces. They're used in backsplashes and stuff like that. A buddy of mine does flooring and stuff like that, so he has extra boxes of these. So they'll order a quantity for a job and then have leftovers. Well, he gave me all the leftovers, so I have these beautiful Italian marble tiles, I guess. I'm just gonna make a trivet out of, and then give it to them, saying, "Hey, thanks for waiting such a very long time for the table. Here's the trivet to go with your table because it matches."
That table turned out beautifully, man. It was definitely if I was your client, it was worth the wait.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely cut my teeth. I had never built a table before, never done bow ties, never done mortise and tenon, none of that stuff. I cut my teeth on everything throughout that entire table. My saving grace for that whole project was drawing the entire thing up in CAD first. As long as I know the dimensions, I will make the parts match those dimensions.
There you go. I'm the complete opposite. I draw it up here.
I can only embrace so much chaos, Josh.
Listen, I embrace quite a bit of chaos. Every day I go to work.
Not see my shop.
Dude, I'm thinking about work, and then I'm thinking about shop life, and I'm thinking about this new child on the way, and I'm thinking about, am I going to kill my current child? Am I going to murder my cats? Like, all these things going through my head. Yeah, of course I'm kidding. I'm not going to kill my kids.
This is else.
But come close. Just you give him a little chloroform, also known as nap time, and he'll just,
That works on so many different levels.
It does. It's great. But yeah, no, I get the chaos is real, Tim, all the time. Yeah. But as soon as I sit in front of this computer, I start designing stuff. It's like, okay, there it is. And there'll be parts I haven't even designed yet. I was like, well, I can do this and I can do that. I can see how that'll look. I've done this before, So everyone has their way.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me what my favorite thing to do in the shop is the design part of it. I really love just drawing stuff up. See, with our powers combined, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I hate it. You love it. So here's what's going to happen. You see, I'm going to commission you to design it, and then I'll build it. If they build it, they will come.
With me in SolidWorks, I'll spit out the Mona Lisa in 10 minutes. That's all I have.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, you just opened yourself up there, buddy.
Hey,
I need this. I need it to look like this and fit this.
My email's wide open.
But I wouldn't do it. See, right? If it's something I can learn on my own, I will. If I need help, I'll of course ask. I just typically don't ask for help.
That's actually, but I mean, like to that point though, it's actually something I offered to Austin, the guy that runs Maker Camp. Is I am willing to do a demonstration next year of like how
there you go.
I should say the benefits of CAD. So I'll be obviously demonstrating in SolidWorks, but it doesn't matter if you use Google SketchUp. It doesn't matter if you use Fusion 360. There's, having that 3D CAD is a great starting tool for any project.
Sounds like a great YouTube video.
Yeah, but then it's YouTube and social media, and I'd rather do it in front of people. It's weird.
That's true.
It's like I'm an introvert, but I'd rather demonstrate what I know in front of people. It makes no sense.
Excuse me. I've had a long day. Sorry. I'm not yawning at you. I'm just tired.
Today's been, it was our Monday, and it's been a Monday. But,
yeah, I loaded Nuke today, and I passed.
About time. Good job, man.
Dude, it's ridiculously tedious for that much weight being moved around.
I imagine
40,000 pounds being loaded onto an aircraft, and you're just like, okay, this step. All right, let's do this step. Are you doing your steps over there? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I got to check this one. Crap. All right, did you do that? Stuff like that. It's been crazy.
So at the end of a crazy day, what relaxes you in the shop?
Sorry, Jason said something stupid in there. Listen, it's my metal barrel. Okay, this is me staying awake. Just playing with it.
There's a theme here, isn't there?
It's a life-size replica. I mean, what?
Yeah, Jason usually is covered up with a small towel, but.
And all right, on that note, let's wrap this episode up.
Here, I got you, man, dog. There we go. Well, I mean, it's it's been an episode with some randomness
building dogs and
yeah. You know what? That's what makes and breaks these episodes. Though, like we have a good time, we say some stupid stuff, we laugh, we joke. We get to talk about great experiences such as what Tim had at Maker Camp, and then a little bit of our time at Workbench Con. And hopefully someone gains something out of that, and we see more people go to either or, because there is a preference. And I think you nailed it pretty well, Tim. Yeah. And I don't know. We should have more. I wish there were more opportunities like this. And I know a lot goes into them. It's not easy, but it sure would be awesome to have multiple, like not every month, but like maybe for a year. So like if you don't make Maker Camp, you can go to another one, or if you can't afford Workbench Con, you can go to one of the other three.
Right.
But I mean, we're getting there as a community. I think we're definitely getting there, going in the right direction. But with that, let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. Tim, I want to thank you for coming on. It was short notice, and you definitely got on it. Do you have any final words or anything you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
Always be willing to learn. Even if you know how to do something, let the person who's explaining it to you explain it to you. Because more than likely, they're going to give you a different perspective, and you're still going to learn something anyway.
I like
Nice.
that.
I like that. That's some solid advice.
Inherently, we always go to that's cool, but I'm going to do it this way.
Right. Or it's just like you stop listening because you've already done that thing. But the second you already know everything is when you stop learning, right?
And we never know everything.
Never assume you know everything.
I just assume I know nothing.
That's a great way to plow forward, sir.
Well, Neb, would you like to take it out? I can go next.
Yeah, I'll take it out. You go ahead.
Awesome. Well, again, I know I said it already, but thank you, Tim, for joining us. It was a great episode. I like these kind of episodes because we get to kind of live through someone else's experience and kind of see what's out there. Hopefully we'll get there next year. We can tell you guys firsthand what we see. I'm sure it's not going to be that much different from what Tim said. But with that, hopefully you get in the workshop, make some sawdust, and nap.
Yeah, he was about to do it. I was waiting for it. But hey, folks,
not to.
I'm not just to reiterate. Yes, thank you, Tim, for coming on. And whether or not,
my pleasure.
Whether or not you go to Maker Camp, Workbench Con, any of these conferences, any of these things, the meetups, whatever you want to call them, just know that those things don't happen without a great community. Whether it's making a gong support, or making a metal bookmark. It's whatever the case may be. You always learn something from these things from other makers. I guess a key thing from both that I've realized is stay humble. Social media is fake. Just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean you're that cool. Just stay humble. Be cool about it. Because at the end of the day, all those followers aren't going to get you shit. So,
right.
But love you guys. Hope you all have a great night. Thank you for tuning into the 172nd. I'm getting ahead of myself. Episode, and we'll see you next time. Sawdust Nation out.
Boom, there it is. Waiting for it. Tim, before we wrap this up, we did have one more question for you. I didn't see it till the last minute. How much of Maker Camp was woodworking?
They had a giant tent devoted to woodworking. They had, I'm talking like what I call like table saw woodworking, right? Where there's like routers, there's hand planes, using bandsaw, stuff like that. Table saw woodworking. They had a whole nother section specifically for timber framing. They had a third tent that was for using like draw planes and stuff like that for making handles and stuff like that. Restoration, like hand tool restoration, that's less woodworking, but it's making the handles for the tools.
Yeah.
They had a tent for turning. They had a tent for power carving. So, there's at least, I will comfortably say at least 4 tents that had something having to do with woodworking. That's on top of the blacksmithing. That's on top of the blacksmithing tent, on top of the leatherworking and sewing tent, on top of the Totalboat epoxy tent. There's it's not just woodworking. It is all of it, which was really cool to watch. Like the whole first Friday, you could probably spend at least half a day just by wandering around and hitting all the tents just to watch what they're doing. And that's amazing. To me, that is.